Hey dreamers, welcome back to your Dream Coach podcast. I'm Shayla Wey. I'm a small business coach, growth strategist, and believer that your dream life starts the moment you lead like you mean it. This podcast is all about leadership, fulfillment, and growth. And today's episode is for those of you who've ever asked yourself, can I actually thrive in my business without sacrificing my life? Because the truth is, the old model of work-life balance is outdated. It implies that your work and your life are in constant tension, fighting each other for your time and energy. And what I found and what I coach on every day is it's not about balance, it's about blending. It's about balancing, intentionally designing a life and a business that supports each other, not competes with each other. So this episode is all about how to do that. I'll walk you through 9 key principles that I've learned that have helped me and my clients stop chasing perfect balance and start building sustainable joy. These are practical, powerful shifts that you can apply starting today. And if this conversation sparks something in you, I want to personally invite you to join me inside the LFG Business Academy on School. It's totally free, and you'll get access to my mini leadership series that has templates, tools, and an amazing community of small business owners who are all building with purpose. So let's dive into the work-life blend. Well, first and foremost, it starts with redefinition, right? Redefining what this even looks like and feels like. Most people chase balance like it's a finish line that they will someday cross. But what I have found is that balance is not a destination, it's a dynamic. And there are seasons, there are pushes, there are pauses. And instead of trying to give every part of your life 100% all the time, the real magic is in designing rhythms that allow your business and life to coexist in a way that feels sustainable and aligned. When you start to let go of the perfection of balance, you can finally give yourself permission to live. The second thing is to define your priorities by season. In any season, your priorities will shift, and they should. Because what I found is that trying to treat every month the same sets us up for disappointment. So when I started asking myself, well, what matters most in this season? Whether it was launching, resting, traveling, family, I could then plan with more clarity and a lot more ease. I actually used this whole concept on 2 of my calls last week with clients is instead of having this overwhelming to-do list of thinking about next year, thinking about next month and all the things that need to get done is just pausing and taking a step back. And how do we take a 12-month calendar in our business and break it up into seasons that we then can plan for? So even just defining your top 3 non-negotiables each quarter is a leadership move that gives you direction without feeling rigid about it. Your third thing is that your calendar reflects your commitments. So you can say you value family and time and health and creativity and everything that we value or we say we value. But if those things don't have a home on your calendar, they'll always get the leftovers. So this one really did hit hard home for me when I learned this concept in my early 20s. Because I was taught this at a really young age in direct sales. And I remember them challenging me to schedule everything, even different date nights with my boyfriend, who's now been my husband for over 15 years. And I felt weird about that. Like, why should I have to schedule in my husband? But as I've gotten older and as I've seen this with lots of clients, is I've learned that if it's not in the calendar, it's probably not going to happen. So I challenge you to take a look at your calendar. And does that reflect your whole life? Or does that just reflect the work and what's happening in your job? Okay. Because if we have things that are important to us, like family and health, and even just giving space for extracurriculars, is that has to be in the calendar. So again, empowering yourself that when you start taking time and blocking time for things that matter before the business starts to really, really take over, you'll just show up a lot differently. So more whole and more present. So blending your work and life well means putting what fills you up on the front end, not as a reward, but for survival. It's the fuel that keeps you ignited when we show up day to day. The fourth thing is to start letting go of the guilt around rest. Rest isn't weak. It's wisdom, it's strategy. There's a lot of things that fill my bucket, but getting in that little nap on a Sunday afternoon is my jam. I just love it. And it's now become, because, most weekends, if I can, around all the kids' activities, becomes part of what I look forward to. It's not something that I earned. It's not something that I have to feel bad about. Is that allows me to feel rested, to feel fulfilled, and just to have a bit of a reset before I go into my week. Now, I used to feel a lot of guilt around that. Like I could be doing this or I should be doing that. Like I was always falling behind or being lazy. But what I found is that rest is productive. It fuels leadership. It sharpens that creativity side of you. And most importantly, it reminds you that you are more than just output. Burnout doesn't make you a better leader. Being well and strong and healthy and rested, that is what does. Now, the fifth thing is to design a business that supports your life. Too many business owners accidentally build businesses that trap them. So we start off chasing freedom and having the space and the flexibility, but if you're not intentional, you will end up working more than ever with less joy. So what I've learned is that the most sustainable businesses are designed with the end in mind, financially, structurally, energetically. So this is where fulfillment meets growth. When your business model gives you margins for life, you win in a really big way. The sixth one is to start communicating your boundaries like a boss, right? Like a leader, because leadership isn't just internal, it's relational. So as I blended my work and life more intentionally, I had to get clearer about my external boundaries. So that meant telling my clients my working hours, training my team on when I was available, and being okay with saying not now. Boundaries start to protect what you've built. They're on the guardrails. These are the guardrails of really having this blended life. And when communicated with confidence, they actually build more trust and respect. I had a client I was working with last week that talked about this, and I've been challenging this client for a while to have and implement more boundaries. And due to a very, very busy schedule, these boundaries just sort of to happen on their own. And the reflection was, Shayla, you're right, is I thought that I always had to be available for clients. And the busier I got, the less time I had to get back right away. And guess what? The business didn't fail. The clients we responded to and communicated to a day or two later, not in the evenings or at crazy hours, and the business is still thriving. So just a good reminder that boundaries allow us to be more intentional, allow us to be exactly where we are versus always feeling like we're working. Number 7 is to automate and delegate with intention. So you can't do it all and you shouldn't. Part of blending work and life means being radically honest about what only you can do and what can be systemized or handed off. So whether it's grocery delivery or a virtual assistant, what I found is that getting support is a form of self-leadership. You can't grow if you're drowning in the details, and you can't lead if you're always in the weeds. So what can you delegate on your list that is going to buy back your time to allow you to focus on things that are actually genuinely going to grow the business that only you can do as the leader? And this applies in a business as well. If you are managing or leading a team, or even if you're an employee in a business, is what on the day-to-day could you systemize to make a little bit more streamlined for yourself? The 8th one is presence over perfection. The biggest shift that I've seen and that I've personally made in the last 5 years is really letting go of perfectionism and choosing presence. Because when I'm with my kids, I don't need it to be perfect. Pinterest moments, I just need to be there. Okay. Same goes for business. Your clients don't need perfect. They need you fully engaged, fully in. And in your business, right? Your team, they need you fully present. Is we have this idea of what perfection would look like, would feel like. And I had someone recently, one of my friends, really question me, what even is perfect? And I love that. I love that challenge because we often will have higher expectations. And as much as I totally think we all can be growing and becoming the better versions of ourselves, we also have enough skills and tools in our toolbox right now to make an impact. And if we don't take action now, we probably never will. So now is the perfect time to use what you have while building the systems and things, in the coming weeks and months to be able to scale and to continue to grow, but not waiting until everything is totally perfect. And I think this for me has been one of the most freeing leadership lessons. Is blending is about showing up fully wherever you are and not being everywhere at one time. The ninth thing is your energy is the most important currency. Your energy is what fuels your business, your relationships, and your life. I now plan my weeks not just based on tasks, but based on energy. So I block time for what lifts me up. I've learned to pay attention to what drains me. And I found, what I found is that the better I protect my energy, the more effective I am as a coach, as a mom, a friend, a wife, and a business owner. Because energy for me, especially, is everything. And I see this, being a common theme as well in leaders that I coach, is their energy matters with how they grow and lead their teams and their businesses. So just don't spend it recklessly. So let's bring this all together. The goal isn't balance. The goal is alignment. The goal is being awake to your own rhythm and designing a life that reflects your values, not the world's expectations. Because when you create a business that blends with your life, you stop hustling and you start thriving. So if today's episode resonated with you, here's your next step. Join us inside the LFG Business Academy on School. It's 100% free. You'll get access to my mini leadership series, so tools to help you lead your team and your time, and a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who just get it. So head to the link in the show notes or DM me on my Instagram at Shayla Wey Coaching, and I'll send you the invite. And if you love this episode, pass it on to a fellow entrepreneur who's doing their best to blend it all. Because remember, your dream life starts with the way you lead, the way you live, and the way you grow. I'm Shayla Wey, and this is your Dream Coach Podcast.